Welcome in, everybody. Ty Bartell in with another edition of Coach's Corner as we are here with Chivas Whipple, the East Boys basketball coach. Coach, how we doing today?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, not doing too bad myself. Coach, first and foremost, looking at your roster, one thing that was intriguing was how young you were last year, I should say.
Yeah.
And you guys were very competitive in some aspects too, and you guys obviously play in a very tough conference. You have a lot of returners, it seems like, coming into this year. That
Yeah.
must be exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see the growth for these guys and the understanding of the game. They're very talented, but again, sometimes when the maturity hasn't set in yet on your guys, and other teams have 4 or 5 seniors, it's just nothing you can do. You can only compete for so long, but it's not how you lose; it's the way you lose, And we'll get there. We'll get there.
Who are going to be some of the names that are highlighting your roster this year, some of those big returners, and maybe some new faces that might get some playing time?
Yeah, so probably right offhand, starting point guard Jared Cologne. He started every game last year as a freshman. I want to say he averaged just under 14 points a game for us last year. Another big-time returner for us is Tyron Hudson. He's only a junior. Jared being a sophomore. Michael Brogdon, R.J. Pierce, Michael Franklin, Jamari Crum. The entire roster is full of sophomores. Some transfers that we got in that would be very helpful. Isaiah McCray will probably start at our point guard, and Cameron Sly from is another name that's going to ring bells for us as well. And Gabriel Christian. So we should be okay.
Looking at that too, and when you go into these practices, what are some of the things you and your coaching staff are looking for that determine playing time, that determine if you get that starting time? What are those intangibles that you're looking for?
Consistency is everything in life. Discipline and consistency. Luckily, I've been blessed with a great group of returners who understand, and the new guys have bought in. I don't tolerate much, man. I'm a United States Marine, man. So, I don't tolerate much, and I don't care who you are, from the best player to the worst player. Everybody gets the same treatment. But I got a pretty solid group of guys that understand that, and they hold each other accountable. So, it's just a matter of time before it blossoms, I'm hoping.
Thank you for your service too. I know Veterans Day was just a few days ago too, but we always want to thank our veterans every day too. So we thank you for your service in that regard, Coach. Looking at this schedule though, this is going to be another one of those years too. You guys test yourself every year, and you're not afraid of competition. What do you think facing that schedule last year? How do you think that's going to help you guys prepare for a schedule this year? Do you think that now having their feet wet a little bit, they're going to have that right mindset this year?
Absolutely. So most of the guys, again, as freshmen, played tons and tons of varsity minutes. They played a lot of quality minutes. And last year, I would tell them all the time, learn from this, understand how the game is played. Don't worry about wins and losses. This is growth. They were all freshmen coming off COVID, 18 to 24 months of no activity. So the last time a lot of them played was 6th or 7th grade. And to be thrown as freshmen into a varsity basketball game is traumatizing in a lot of senses. So, I wasn't too concerned about winning as much last year as learning, just getting an understanding of the level that it takes to compete and win at the varsity level. So, I think this year a lot of them will understand. They know what it took. They've been in the weight room. They've taken film sessions, seriously, taking the classroom seriously. When I inherited the team, they had, I don't even want to tell you what the GPA was, but this year we finished just under 3.0. So
that's awesome.
That alone tells me right now they bought into what we're trying to do.
And that's awesome to see that, Coach. And success is no stranger to this East program. I remember back when I was in school, this was a successful program, plenty of years. And looking at it, to get back to that level, you obviously want to see growth. What are those kind of points of growth or points of improvement that you want to see specifically this year with this group?
Really, you can't teach height, right? So a lot of last year was height. I think we had a lot of skill set, but this year I just want them to learn the process and trust that process. As far as in-game things, execution and pace and patience. A lot of kids are so hell bent on hurry up and rush. And it's like, no, you have to pick and choose. You have to be patient, but sped up at the same time. It's just a fine line in that game where pace and patience meet. And if you miss that window, man, you missed it, So it's getting them to understand that execution and patience is where it's at.
And this is going to be a program I know that you guys always need the assistance there with you too. All of our programs do. So I always like to give the opportunity to shout out your assistants, shout out other big names to this program that mean a ton to the Golden Bears.
Well, I'll first start off with just the administration itself. The principal, Ms. Campbell, the athletic director, Ms. Franklin, who's our women's coach, who you probably know very well. I mean, they support us through and through. And my head assistant is LaVance Turnage. I don't know where I would be without him. This year will be fun because hopefully we can get a couple more wins than last year. But just having somebody grind it out with you, through those tough times means everything. We added Coy Vatlenberg, who's an experienced trainer, collegiate guy. And then we also added Dominic Cole, who's kind of like our muscle, like I'm a disciplinarian, but he kind of follows up with it. And he's big on the weight room and he's big on footwork for big guys. But it's just a collective group of misfits, man. And I love it. We all have each other's back. We echo each other. And that's the most important thing, going back to consistency and what I said. A lot of these kids, they're dealing with way more than schoolwork and basketball outside of life, outside of hoops, excuse me. So we have to be very consistent, and our words have to match our actions when it comes to our guys.
Coach, because I'm curious, because you offer a lot of good words of wisdom, a lot of good motivation to these young men. What is some of the best advice that you received prior to becoming a coach that you've kind of taken with you throughout your coaching career?
You got to answer the bell. Coach Bob Huggins, I would go to camps and clinics and things like that in my collegiate days. And even before I became a collegiate head coach, assistant coach, I would still travel. And I remember Coach Huggins saying, you got to answer the bell. It doesn't matter. I'm sick. I don't want to go to practice. I had a long night. You got to answer the bell the next morning. So, and that just goes back to discipline and consistency. You can do all the things you want to do, but you need to be on time for practice. You need to be on time for work. Self-accountability is everything, and I tell my guys all the time, usually the hardest decision to make is the right one. It's very easy to say, I ain't getting out of bed today. I'm just stay here. That's probably wrong. Getting out of bed when you're tired and you're sore to go play a doubleheader is probably the right decision.
Coach, before we let you go, I want to give you that opportunity to just give a shameless self-promotion and shout out the community and let them know why they need to come and support this Golden Bears team this year.
Well, I want people to be there who want to be there. I don't self-promote. I try not to, at least. I try to make the product do the selling, and winning changed everything. I know Coach Ace and the football team had a rough season, and I think everybody kind of alludes to that when it comes to basketball. And Coach H did a hell of a job. It's just he dealt with some different things that I don't have to. But winning is going to cure all of that. We won one game last year, and it was a growth year, but I'm a winner. I want my team to feel like winners. I want the coaching staff and the administration to feel like winners, and we've put in the work. And I told my guys, just buy into the process, take the pain and beating of the weight room and the running, and you'll be fine, and I believe we've done that with some addition to some guys who come from winning organizations. I think we can get it done.
Well, Coach, I love this team. I love this program. I love what you guys represent too. Represent Youngstown, and you definitely represent Grit City and what it's all about. We wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you.
You, of course, can catch some East Boys basketball games on ysnlive.com this season for completely free, thanks in part to our wonderful sponsors. This has been a first edition of Coach's Corner with East Boys basketball coach Chivas Whipple.